ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of Point Black. And you ain't going to believe who's in the studio with me.
Gonna do that.
Now, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to let y'all know right now. For the past few shows, it has been quiet and peaceful in here.
Knew he was gonna do
It has been sophisticated in here.
justice, no
it has been
peace.
highly educational in here.
We're gonna dumb it down now.
But now we have to revert back. Just when I thought we had it made, he pulled me right back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Adolphus Pruitt.
And I'm the Reverend Daryl Gray.
Welcome back, man.
Listen, man, and I miss it. Now I kept up listening to the radio, so I kept up. And you're right, Pruitt. I said to myself, wait a minute, they sound a little bit more intellectual. What's going on? I think it's BJ. It's the producer. I said it can't.
Oh
be a dog.
my goodness.
But listen, man, it is good. And I've had people who have said to me, say, "Hey, Rev, we've been missing you." I said, "Yeah, but you know, every now and then you gotta do a wellness check. Every now and then you gotta step back and remember family first. But Point Black, this is family too. So it's good to be back. And I came back bearing gifts, Adolphus.
Uh-oh.
I made sure that Dr. B.J. Holiday, the legendary DJ, received his Martin Luther King Drum Major for Justice Award that we presented to him back in January, but had a typo on the plaque, and we didn't want to do anything halfway, so we wanted to make sure that B.J. got his award because, as I told him, he definitely earned it.
And Daryl, this was Charlamagne the Guy, and we could play them hand claps.
Oh, I know. Here we go.
But since we on the low budget,
Oh, you did not say iHeart was on the low
ladies
budget.
and folks, we can't even afford sound effects.
Yeah, you can. You do it yourself.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, those are cheap, aren't they?
Yeah, no,
The
no.
ones you
those-
do yourself, those are pretty cheap,
No,
aren't they?
those are pretty efficient.
But they work just as well.
They
Don't
work
they?
just as well.
just as well.
And have
now,
more
man.
meaning. Have more
Yeah,
meaning.
yeah,
meaning.
yeah.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, let me. I'm going to start, and Daryl going to finish the introduction. But I'm going to set this up. I got to set this up. You know, the most precious thing that we have in our midst, whether you in the St. Louis, whether you in the county, well, I don't care what city, what municipality, what backwoods
Come on now.
you in,
That's right.
the most precious thing that we have are children,
That's right.
because they will inherit the earth. Because we all are going to, well, some of y'all going to leave here. I'm staying.
I ain't going
But we
nowhere.
all going to leave here at some point
I
in
ain't going
time.
nowhere.
And we have to prepare them and be ready to not only hold them up, but lift them up.
Yep.
And so we got somebody here in the studio today that not only holds children up, but BJ will lift them up and their parents too.
That's right.
Lifts up the whole family. Matter of fact, this person does so much lifting. The other day I got tired. I said, well, I wish I can call this person. Maybe I can just sit in their arms and they just carry me around. Because they do that lift. They do the heavy lifting. Daryl, you want to introduce our guest?
Crystal, for a lot of us, particularly in the protest movement, Crystal's no stranger to any of us. She's always been 10 toes in when it comes to standing up for justice, standing up for rights, standing up for community, and not just black community, but standing up for community. As I said, she's always been 10 toes in. It's interesting. I was surprised, Pruitt, when I found out that Crystal Barnett is the CEO. That's the chief executive officer. That's the head person in charge and founder of Bridge to Hope, which is a nonprofit organization. It's backed by the Opportunity Trust, and it helps parents, as you said, navigate and advocate for their students, particularly at school board meetings. And Pruitt, we know, and I know you and NAACP, you're no stranger to this, advocating for public education, for quality public education. But Crystal helps parents to be able to speak on behalf of their own children to the policymakers at our school board. And she's done a tremendous job, and we're very proud of her. One of the things we've always said in the movement, it's supposed to go from protest to politics to policy. And too often we get hung up on the protest part that we negate, we forget that if we are going to affect any real change, it has to come through the political arena, and it has to come through developing policy and strengthening families. And that's what Crystal has dedicated herself to. I'm very proud of her. Every time I see her, I just smile. And you're right, she's been holding up a lot of folk. So Crystal, welcome to Point Black.
Thank you.
Ain't she humble? Ain't she humble? Ain't she humble?
Chris, what is your story?
I'll tell y'all my story. I'm St. Louis native. Grew up in North St. Louis all my life. I believe my advocacy journey started at the time where I got pregnant at 19. At the time, I was in St. Louis Job Corps. Mr. Rios was the head at the time. He told me I didn't belong there. He made me enroll in Forest Park College. When I got there, I graduated from there with a 4.0. He told me to keep going and further my education, so I applied to St. Louis U and WashU when I got into St. Louis U. So that's where I got my degrees. My son is now 22 years old. He's in college, about to graduate in December. I have also a daughter that's 13 years old, and I think that's where my real fight in education really started. Lauren went to 6 different schools over the last 4 years. We finally found a place for her where I could partner with the school to really help her grow. She left last year in the 5th grade and I'll skip to the 7th. She's an A and B student. She's on the volleyball team. She's on the principal advisory board. Like, her whole life changed because people were willing to get in the fire with me and help me help her.
Crystal, what made you start this particular program? I mean, I've heard a lot of good things about it. I know people who work there, but everybody has a dream, everybody has a vision. But what made you work to realize yours?
I was at Wells Fargo at the time. They were talking about could they build a movement here of families who would hold sisters accountable to educating children correctly. When we surveyed 2,000 people, what we learned is that our community very much cared about education, but they had no idea how to navigate the systems. That's really what started the build of our program. I think the misnomer or maybe the misunderstanding about our program is that people believe that our program only holds teachers and schools accountable, and that's not true. Our program is designed to build the partnership. So the first thing we talk to parents about walking through the door is their responsibility, meaning knowing where your child reads and the information you need to know, understanding your rights and the knowledge you're going to need to have to even start to be an advocate, and then what does it mean to go in and then build those relationships to make a solid foundation for your child to succeed. It's not an easy process.
Yeah, but Pruitt, the reality too, and I think the things we've struggled with, and I'm glad that you're working with parents, is that oftentimes parents have, I don't want to say that they failed within the public school system, but oftentimes the public school system has failed parents. And so, trying to get parents to go into a situation that not only do they feel uncomfortable, sometimes they feel though it's a hostile situation, Pruitt.
I agree with that, but here's what I'm dying to ask Crystal, because you were just talking about parents, and you make a good point, Daryl. But I just want to flip it for a minute, because you was hear some teachers say that, hey, the parents come in here and want to hold us accountable when we have a bad A kid. And they don't want to deal with their kid. So Crystal, how do we educate parents on both sides? Those who kids are not troublemakers, where they get what they need, but also can we educate parents on how to be a little bit more flexible as relates to dealing with school districts and teachers and stuff, as relates to their kids, especially if they have a problem child? And correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think you're wrong. I think it's a 2-part process. So there's going to be times where children are dealing with adverse things that will cause disruptions to the classroom.
Gotcha.
But also in the space of knowing that you're still going to need that teacher to help navigate, that's where the real relationship building starts. I also think discipline is the responsibility of the home. So there is no argument there.
Gotcha.
But sometimes families dealing with multiple things that children might be facing don't necessarily know how to do that. That's where the then conversational negotiation, understanding, and then resource part then becomes pivotal, because sometimes parents don't have the capacity. Sometimes they just don't know the skill set. Sometimes because it's an adversarial space, or they feel like it is, they don't know how to approach it. That's why we have to help them turn their anger into cold anger, which is being able to reach across the aisle without attacking, is being able to build partnerships and relationships in ways that make sense. And even with a child with a discipline problem, there's other ways to deal with discipline and have consequences for actions beyond like spankings and things of that nature. Like, but if you don't know those things, then you'll just do what was done to you.
Got it. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more on Point Black. And we are back with more on Point Black. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Bridge to Hope in the house. In the house. You know, what does that help me out? Give me some examples of what Bridge to Hope does. Give me some good ones.
Oh, we got a lot. Bridge to Hope builds skills. Our program, we connect with our families from day one. So almost like a family-to-family thing. We call everybody that comes through our program cousins. We don't just give them PowerPoints and presentations. Every single thing we teach them, we have them acted in real time. From going to their parent-teacher conferences, from talking to their teachers for the first time, going to school board meetings, talking to elected officials, sending emails. If you need skill building, we also do that. And then because we're multiple connected with other organizations, then anything that Bridge to Hope doesn't offer, we have some type of connection to whatever need they might have. So when we call ourselves Bridge to Hope for a reason. Like, we're trying to build and take away the space that creates barriers so that people can just get what they need and then go be successful in whatever way they need to.
What are some of the greater challenges? I know Pruitt talked about one, and oftentimes it is parent attitude too. But what have you found as some of your biggest challenges, and how have you been able to overcome those challenges?
Some of our parents are also functional illiterate. That's one challenge. Transportation and real understanding of how to make a move for your child is also a challenge. One of the things that I believe in is we meet the people where they are. So whether you've ever done it or you've done a great job at it and you just need support, that's kind of how we lead into how we help folks. But we try to move beyond challenges. So we know that parent engagement is the number one thing talked about in education, but we've also seen hundreds and hundreds of parents lean in ways that they say is not happening, right? So we know that it's possible. We also know that behaviors in schools is an issue, but we also know that if you will open those doors and let the grandparents in who are retired, let the retired teachers in, come in and be support staff in classrooms, those could be solutions to some of those behaviors. But we have to get to the point to where the system allows for us to do the course correction that it's going to take in order for it to work for kids.
You know, you told your story. You said 19 years old, pregnant, Job Corps.
Yep.
Instructor encouraged you to go, say, no, you don't go to college. You went to a junior college, got your degree out there, left there, went to a major university, St. Louis University. Now you're doing this. So how do we get other young people that are in the situation you were in at 19, in that situation now? How do we encourage them that, hey, listen, when Crystal walked that walk, they didn't tear the sidewalk up and put a block up there and build a wall. You could come down that street too.
can.
How do we do that?
To be honest, the people that helped me, they walked with me.
Gotcha.
Mr. Rios went to the school with me when I enrolled.
Wow.
When I sent my application in for St. Louis University, he read over my application. My mother, she didn't kick me out and talk bad to me when I got pregnant. She helped build a structure of support around me so that Malachi's life would be a good life. When I had questions, it was people willing to show me things that I didn't know. As a young mother, there's a lot we don't know and a lot we have to learn. Also, my child's father dealt with substance abuse. So that was another thing that I got exposed to and what it really feels like to help a person that's experiencing homelessness or dealing with drugs and alcohol, things of that nature. I had to walk that down with that person and raise my son and listen to wisdom. So what I'm really saying is like, it's not about encouraging them. You're going to have to walk it with them. Bridge to Hope walks with our families.
Got it.
Like, I didn't encourage them to go be an advocate. I brought you in this classroom. It's called the Parent Education Advocacy Academy. I welcomed you here no matter how you showed up here. And I believed when you got here that you wanted to do the things that this class is designed to do.
It takes a
As we started
village.
to do that, then we walk it with you.
Yeah, I mean, and it does. I mean, Crystal's story, Pruitt, it is. It's the proverb. It takes a village. And as she said, she didn't have to walk it alone, but internally, she said, through her grandmother, through her parents who didn't kick her out, through the mentors that she had. And we always continue to say to our young folk, if I can see it, I can be it. And so these are success stories. I had somebody on Facebook ask me, said, Reverend Gray, why isn't your face on the Facebook page? And my response is this: what Adolphus and I endeavor to do with this show, and BJ and the team, is bring resources to the listener. we have our opinions. We do our comedy, and everybody who knows Adolphus knows Adolphus has his opinions. But one thing that Adolphus continues to say, and no filter, what we always want to do is make sure that we bring experts, people who are doing the work. Mm-hmm. That's what we endeavor to do with this show. And indeed, Crystal is doing the work and showing that in spite of your struggle, or struggles, plural, you can still be successful.
Yeah.
So the other thing too, and I wanted to get Pruitt, I always call it deep dive. But when we talk about the parents, in addition to, as Pruitt would say, maybe parents who are not dealing with reality or living, or Alice in somebody else's wonderland, what are some of the other issues that the parents are facing that you have to deal with, or your staff has to deal with on a daily basis? Because one of the things you said, you're helping them to present themselves in a school board situation, which can be an uncomfortable situation depending upon what's going on. What is it that they're lacking, or what is it that they feel they're lacking that you're helping them with?
Confidence. So let's talk about my team, right? So Janelle, who used to work at a law firm, is our operations person. So she helps with all logistical things. Ebony, who started Expect Us and who was on the front line of Ferguson, is the one who helps our parents get ready to be activated and organized.
Ebo, shout out to Ebo.
Jessica, who works remote with us, she helps us secure all of our funding and grants. And then there's me and Miss Shanetta, who also went through our program, right? So Miss Shanetta, being the lead organizer on my team, is an example of what I mean. That a person who really lean into this program and do what it takes, you can walk it on down. And now she's training hundreds of parents every year. She graduated with me 4 years ago.
Parents don't have to pay for this service?
They do not. So one of the things we raise money for, and why we're thankful for all of our funders, is that if you walk the process and do all the action steps, we give you $400 as an investment towards your advocacy. So it's not to pay you to come to the class or even to stay, because some people don't, irregardless of the money. You have to be committed. And when we see a person is committed, then we reinvest back in our communities where we know that there's a need.
Pruitt, these are the programs, though, Pruitt, that when Crystal talks about funding and grants, when we talk about, and we've talked about it, Project 2025 and others, and this attack on education, this is part of the FAIR Adolphus, that programs like this that are proven success stories are threatened by what's going on around the country.
No, it's worse than that. When we're gonna have a show on that. It's ladies and gentlemen, Project 2025 when it comes to education is here. I'm just but here's what we need to talk about though, Daryl. Let me, ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all, when you hear this show, I want you to just pull your ear close to the radio, because I don't want you to miss a word of what I'm about to say, because I am so freaking tired of people putting labels on you based on who you get money from.
Sick of it.
So,
No,
Thank you for
listen,
saying
listen,
it.
got loud.
No, wait a minute. Now, wait a minute.
It was quiet,
Wait a
then it
minute.
got loud.
Now, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, if you pull their campaign reports, and Kamala Harris, you'll see money on there from Microsoft to all of them.
All the people.
You'll see, and so you'll see money on there from this first. That if you pull the campaign reports for everybody you know in office right now that you think is the greatest black person in office you ever met. Go back and pull their campaign reports,
I wanna do
and I
that.
guarantee you may find an individual or a company on there that you may not agree with.
Right.
But they this and that. So I am just so tired of people saying when we say, hey, we are looking for donations and you can give.
Right.
You just need to understand when you give, here's what you're giving for.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Here's what I'm gonna do with your money.
Right.
And if you still give it to me,
Right.
and I do that, don't bring that bullshit back to me.
Can we
about
say
who
that
it
on
came
air?
from.
You heard what he said.
Can we say that on
I'm
our
just
You heard
tired.
what he said.
I'm tired.
BJ,
of
can we
it.
say that on
I'm tired for just
BJ gonna bleep that. He gonna bleep that
That's
part.
I ain't bleep. He better not. I'm gonna give him some more to bleep. But I'm so tired. I'm so tired of these handkerchief head Negroes who want to
Working in the
attack
house.
people
Working in the house.
who are uplifting black people and trying to help them out. If you ain't gonna stand in their shoes and do the work,
That's right.
shut the up.
Well, you know, Daddy King, Dr. King's father, Dr. King's father had Ebenezer on Auburn Avenue in Atlanta, and on Friday and Saturday, Auburn Avenue was the red light district in Atlanta. Y'all know what red light district is, right?
I see what else was word like me. Yes, it was.
So Auburn Avenue was the red light district on Friday and Saturday. And so the sisters, the ladies of the evening, the professional workers would work on Friday and Saturday, and on Sunday they go to church
Did.
at Ebenezer or Wheat Street, where Daddy Borders was there, Holmes Borders. And they would come in, put their money in the plate, Pruitt, and Ebenezer and all these churches doing wonderful outreach ministries. Seniors ministries, youth ministries, you name it, they're doing housing, seniors housing. They're doing it all, economic development programs. And a lot of it was due to the fact that a lot of these people were
Streetwalkers.
paying their tithes and their offering, and they were streetwalkers.
Yes, sir.
So one of the deacons came up to him, Pruitt, and said, well, Reverend King, you know what kind of work these ladies doing. You taking dirty money. And Daddy King looked at him and said, well, the money might come in dirty, but it's going to go out clean.
Will.
I said, the reality is this, and Pruitt, you're absolutely right. Now, if there's fine print, Crystal, on the grant contract that says that you're supposed to do something other than what your principles dictate,
Can we talk about it?
let's talk about it.
Yeah. I'm so tired of it. I want you to talk about it because I'm mad. I want to be madder.
Well, we getting mad because you done
Tired of these.
we'll call them handkerchief head.
What happens with a nonprofit is that when you get money from any funder, there are a set of metrics that you have to meet.
Right.
How many people we serve through our programming, pay for your staff, whatever kind of events we do that's community facing. That's the only requirement that we have from the Opportunity Trust.
go.
Our program was built actually from community. So the first 2,000 people is what built the first program we launched. Over the last 5 years, we survey every single year and do end-of-year surveys to then add things to our program to help the people in our community. That's not anything that having to do with the Opportunity Trust. That's Bridge to Hope and Bridge to Hope's team. It's also in alignment to our vision. Our goal is by 2040 to reduce the illiteracy rate by 50%. In order for us to do that, we have to connect with enough families, get them educated and active enough in K-12 education spaces so that we can start doing the things that are required to make sure our kids are a success. And now that we know that Project 2025 is now affecting Missouri and that we can't even use data to drive the reasons how to fix inequities, that's here another problem. Yet we can't have a room full of uneducated people hooping and hollering about an issue, but not knowing what they're in the room for. So Bridge to Hope is doing that work that is required to make sure our community is educated and active and engaged, and what everybody keep asking about, and tap in so that our kids can get what they need. That's beyond holding just teachers accountable. It's beyond holding school leaders accountable. It's my firm belief is that every single person couldn't do this and point back here and say that we're all responsible for kids. Anybody that knows me knows that's what I believe. It has always been what I believe. I do not believe that the full responsibility of schools is on teachers. I do believe it's a partnership. But if we have a community full of people who don't know what they don't know, we're not going to land or move the needle for kids on a systemic level. That's the goal of Bridge to Hope. I don't know why these people keep asking me questions about our funding. They know it takes money to run a nonprofit. Unless they're going to come in and replace the X amount of hundreds of thousands of dollars that these people have given us to do this work, much needed work in the way that we do it, that's dramatically different from any other organization in St. Louis City, then what is your complaint? When your parents are still in St. Louis Public, but they're leaning in with their kids more in a better way, why are you mad at me? When they come into parent-teacher conferences, asking real questions, and they actually asking about their kids' reading data, what are you really upset about? When you got parents actually coming to board meetings and they actually understand that it's a business meeting about the district that is supposed to govern their kids, I thought this is what you wanted. So either you want people to be engaged and you want us to be doing this work alongside you, or we're going to do it beyond you. But at the end of the day, when we go into these schools, we're going to demand better and support the people that's helping our kids get there. What part of that don't they understand, Rev? We done said this stuff a million times. They want to make stuff be what it ain't. Either you gonna educate them or incarcerate them. That's what Jamila Nasheed told me, and it's true. Half of my homeboys in prison right now is because the district failed them, and so did their families, right? So let's be clear that there was a dual partnership of failure happening for our folks that got incarcerated. Or it could have been that even as a young adult, you made a poor decision and didn't use all the skills that your folks gave you. Let's take some accountability for how we getting to where we at. But at the end of the day, these kids behind me that's reading below grade level by 2 and 3 and 4 grades will never be on this radio station. They won't be running nonprofits if we don't answer the call for literacy. So instead of them attacking me, why you don't come out here and help me educate these parents? Why you not showing up and helping us rally these troops to get these folks in this classroom to get this information? Why we not standing 10 toes down for these kids like y'all keep saying that we not? Because the proof is in the pudding, and that's that.
BJ, you're an educator. I mean, I just heard it. I mean, Pruitt kind of lit the match, and Crystal set it on fire.
I was looking for some gas.
I know. Crystal set it on fire. She brought the gas, Doc. She brought it, and I think that is it, Pruitt. I think you raised an excellent question. We do need to be careful, and particularly in communities where we say on a regular that we don't have the resource. We don't have the property tax on the north side of town. And oftentimes, school board budget is based upon property tax, but we don't have it. And so we've got to understand that in order to properly educate our black learners and all learners that we are charged with, in order to strengthen black families and other families, it's going to take all of us. And you know, I know grandmama used to say, listen, all money ain't good money, baby. Grandmama say all money ain't good money. But, you know, as you said, Crystal, your integrity wouldn't allow you to do anything that you would find hazardous to black learners, black families, black community. And Pruitt, when you said, I know Crystal, that's the Crystal that I know. And that's why I'm glad, and I know at some point, I understand you're running for something. Now, we don't endorse. We don't endorse. Just, you know, disclaimer. Disclaimer: this NAACP and Black Church.
No, we don't endorse, but we can talk about anything we want. But I want to say this, Crystal, because you made some points. Some would say that it ain't what you say and what you do, is how you say it and how you do it. And so some would say that when advocacy and protest is disruptive, disrupted to a standard process, that is the issue. And so you want to address that.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. We had to start a revolution here. Before Bridge to Hope was here, there was nobody coming to board meetings. It wasn't even a topic of conversation for real.
Right.
It was an abstract thought about what was going on in K-12. So the disruptive part of the work was to bring the attention where it needed to be. It was not to be a forever thing. Now that we got the attention, right?
That's it.
COVID also helped us, right? Because we launched our program during 2020 in COVID time. So we had hundreds of parents coming on Zoom calls to learn this information, right? Before we could even get outside.
Right.
But it was those parents who was going down to 801 being disruptive that got the reading plans initiated that was already a law from 2015. It was those people that was willing to stand on the courthouse steps who was being disruptive
Right.
that got everybody talking about this literacy thing and the way they doing it now. I didn't say we were the only one. Let me preface that. But we were very much prevalent in how this conversation got rocking in St. Louis. Let's talk about Senate Bill 681. We put our feet down on it. When I say we, I mean me, my team, and hundreds of parents who advocated for the right to know where their kids read and whether they read on grade level, and to put contingency plans in place, which is reading success plans if your child is 2 years behind. See, without the disruption, we had no progress. Now that I got your attention,
Right.
let's go do this work together. That's the bridge into hope part.
And I think that Pruitt, to that point, and we understand the difference between advocacy and activism too. And we've made it very clear, this whole disruption, and Crystal said it better than I've heard anyone say it. The whole idea, the point is simply to get your attention.
And
That's it.
let's take a break right there. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more on Point Blank. We in the house with Bridge to Hope. I got Reverend Gray back. Man, all I need now is some BJ, can I say it?
Well, you've been saying everything you want to say. What you mean, BJ, can I say it? Now you asking permission.
I could use a little Martell or something.
BJ, now he's asking permission.
We'll be right back with more on Point Blank. The drink's on me. Hey, y'all, we are back with more on Point Blank. We're in the house with Bridge to Hope. I got Reverend Gray back. Hey, I gotta say.
Can I say this first though? Derek
Yes, sir.
Perkins, Reverend Derek Perkins at Centennial was getting ready to do some major stuff on the national level. Just said
That's Bishop.
He said your program is a great program. That's Reverend Derek Perkins over at Centennial.
I've been okay, Miss. Hey, Reverend Perkins, how you doing?
He can see you through the radio.
That's how we do.
Hey, but no. So, the civil rights movement, even going back to King and up to now, has always had a lot of partners. And labor has been a historically strong partner. But folks, as many times as labor has been a strong partner, I can show you as many times where labor has been the hindrance and have held black people back.
Yeah.
Especially when you come about the construction unions and stuff like that. And so ladies and gentlemen, what I would tell you is this: just as some of labor voted for Trump and some didn't.
Right.
So the question is how much do you understand about who, because we're talking about who's with who and who's getting their fund from. How much do you understand about who has their hand and who's back? Now that's what I want to talk. See, we talk that stuff, but let's talk about whose hand is in whose back. Because I tell you this, ain't no hand in mine, and the only reason why, because I am spineless when it comes to folks trying to tell me to be quiet, shut up, be cool about it. Wrong one.
And before Crystal goes, and I think that is part of the thing that those of us who are advocates and activists, I make it very clear. I'm independent. I don't belong to any political parties. I don't belong to any corporations. I don't belong to any funders. I wish I can get a job with the NAACP. But the reality is that we don't do this work for that. But you're absolutely right. It is important, though, to look to see, and I'm glad Crystal's here, because I think it still is important to look to see, who the backers are. And I think it is important for us, to see, okay, what are you doing? Because you might be doing some good things over here, but over on the other side, maybe you're not. And so I'm of the opinion, let's applaud the good things that you're doing over here, and let's challenge the things that you're not.
I'm going to set it up. I'm going to tell you why I raised it, ladies and gentlemen. So right now, the state is trying to take away the local control from the St. Louis Police Department.
Right.
And the folks who are supporting that and pushing that, and why the government is trying to do it, is the union.
Oh, okay.
The police union.
Get to the business.
Now, and the police, why would the police union want to have a appointed board? Because the governor and them has promised them that they would get to pick the people who will be on the board that has oversight on them.
That's right.
So do you want the union?
Police.
The union. The police union picking the people that's going to be on the police board. So now when the police stop you, shoot your black kid down the street and all this other stuff, they are going, the person that has to discipline them, who has to investigate them, who has to deal with them, is the person they told the governor to put on the board.
And who provides the resources to militarize them.
Yeah, so you don't want that. You would say, I don't want that. Well, let's talk about it. Who, ladies and gentlemen, all I'm saying to you is, in order to have oversight, independent oversight, you do not want the people who you have to oversee running your school board.
Right.
Am I making sense?
Yes, you are. Because I don't spend a lot of time talking about the current board, as I'm not a mudslinger. But let's just be clear that some of the people that lead that board right now are backed by Local 420, right? Backed by the AFT Teachers Union. Right. So when we start thinking about why are we constantly uplifting a set of people who aren't leading our district in ways that really support all of its stakeholders, they should be asking for a 20 day.
Let me cut you off.
They should be asking AFT day.
Hold on, let me cut you. So why is it that they can say the union put me in there, but I can be independent? But you can't. Somebody support you. You can't be independent.
Oh, let me be clear that every time y'all attack me and my team as if we don't have brains to build something for our communities on our own, it's a slap in our face. We're 5 black women leading this organization. We have a mind of our own. We partner with people and we get insight and wisdom in order to do this work. It also takes money. And to be honest, they have been a good partner to us to help us build the right structures that help our organization stay strong. But they most certainly are not puppeting the things that we do for our community, because we learn from our community the needs of the community.
And I think at the end of the day, Pruitt, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that as long as as we say, the strings are not attached, and I think that that's it. And you're right, be it public education, be it policing, be it politicians, whatever it is, you've got to look and make sure that there are no strings attached, because there has to be that independence to be able to move and maneuver, as Crystal said, to deal with whatever unique situation that we have. And I'm glad that Crystal's running for the school board. I think that more people like her need to be running for the school board. And as I said, we can't endorse, we can't do any of that. I know who I'm supporting. But I think that we need to be educated voters, and we need to encourage Pruitt, educated voters. And I think you're absolutely right. You're saying it. Ask questions. If it doesn't look right, usually it's not right. And so when be it local control, and people need to understand what that means. That's 5 people. The mayor's going to be one of the people. The mayor can designate somebody, but the police union will designate somebody. Ethical Society of Police will designate somebody, and the governor would designate somebody. But at the end of the day, I think what people don't realize, even if all those folk, with the exception of the mayor, the governor can still say no to the other 4.
They can.
And the governor can say no, and the governor can still put his people on there.
But the issue is, who freaking determines who is independent and who's not,
Right.
simply because of association?
Agreed.
That's what I'm getting at. Don't come in here talking about the union is carrying your water, is putting you in office, and that's the same people you have to negotiate with on my behalf.
Because there's no
with my money,
independence.
you got to negotiate with on salaries.
Yeah.
If I want to fire them, that's the same people. So don't tell me but you're saying you independent. So I'm saying if you can be independent,
Then so
why
can
can't
we.
she? That's
Then
all
so
I'm
can
trying
we.
to get at.
And the reality is, you're right.
It got to go both ways.
Yeah.
This thing about independency. I'm off. I'm done.
No, that's okay.
I'm getting off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you got on your story. It's good to be back at
It
Point
is.
Black. See what I've missed. See what I've missed this whole time, y'all.
I do want our people to remember that more of our young black males got shot under state control 10 years back. So, like, state control is not smart. Like, I think we forgetting. One of my good friends was talking to me about this and reminded me of this, and I wanted to bring it up on this radio show, that we need to look back to see what happened the last time we were under state control for the police department. We just can't allow that anymore.
I want to make sure, Pruitt,
ahead.
how do people get in touch with you and your organization, Crystal? I think that's important too.
You can go to stlbridgetohope.org. You can look us up on all of the social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can also inbox us. If you only email, you can email us at info@stlbridgetohope.org. You can also reach us through one of my staff. There's a number on our website on Facebook that goes to one of the lead organizers. So if you need a direct contact there. I don't give out my number, but if it's something you want to talk to me about, the best way to reach me is kae.barnett@stlbridgetohope.org, and we can set up a time to talk.
I think it's important that people realize, and we always say all politics are local, and I think the most important part, we've got to get involved, St. Louis. We've got to get involved in all of the elections, and particularly, excuse me, our school board election. A lot of people think that, it's not the glamorous election,
They need to get out to vote.
But they need to get out and vote. School board elections coming up, mayoral elections coming up, comptroller elections coming up. And then next year, Pruitt talked about it. We've got to get ready for 2026. We've got to, look at what's happening in the state. Pruitt already talked about local control. But there's a lot of other egregious legislation that's taking place in state legislatures all over this country. And, we're looking at what's happening up there at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We know Nero is trying to burn down Rome, but the reality is that he's burning down Rome, but he's burning down Rome in our neighborhoods. And so we are responsible for acknowledging that and not only putting out fire, but once we put out that fire, let's rebuild.
Yes.
Like we've always done.
Hey, BJ, we're gonna take you out. I'm gonna read something to you, ladies and gentlemen. Project 2025 is home and cooking, and the Assistant Secretary for the Department of Education put out some guidance, and it does this. The guidance bars schools from using racial demographics to allocate resources, to design interventions, or evaluate programs even when disparities are severe. For example, a district cannot target tutoring to schools with high black populations despite documented proficiency levels.
They're trying to
Other
destroy
words,
us, y'all.
if your kids are failing at a certain school and they black and they need some high power tutoring and some other stuff, no longer can the district allocate resources to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, you better wake up. We'll be back next week with more on Point Black. Thank you for being here, Crystal.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Crystal.
Daryl, glad to have you back.
Well, hey, man, it's good to be back.